And a very good morning. It's Mark here. It is Tuesday, January the 28th, 7:45 Eastern, 12:45 GMT, meaning the US session's about to get underway and Wall Street will open in just under 2 hours. We had some sharp moves yesterday. Let's see where we stand today. US dollar index. US dollar index definitely looks like we're getting a bounce after a strong downtrend, big sell-off to yesterday, all the way down to 106.80, below that 107 level. To start today, we've got a gap up, and that gap up, a precursor often of what's to follow, and being a move up. Maybe we'll see this bounce continue. 108 being targeted, that would be the first level on the upside. But after the strong rundown and weak US dollar all through last week, the standout feature of the new Trump presidency, perhaps we're going to see that turn around today. And sitting right now at 107.76 with the US session about to get underway. 108, like I say, is the first target on the upside, and following that would be 108.39, where sellers will want to come down and test this 106.78, the support, which was a previous resistance level. Always significant when support turns to resistance or resistance turns to support. Let's have a look at the S&P. 1 3/4 hours away from a Wall Street opening. And wow, yesterday we had a really big sell-off all the way down to 5,949, a significant move lower on the S&P. However, interesting that it did bounce back. There was certainly demand at these levels once it got to this level, and the fight back was during the US session. The big sell-off was the Asian and the European session. US session, where we so often see that turnaround. We definitely saw it yesterday and fought all the way back from here to close at above that all-important 6,000 level. So that's where we're sitting right now. Not much activity, a little higher, a little lower, but bear in mind that is pre-market opening. So we'll see how that works out. Will the fight back we saw during the US session, will that continue today? And 6,100 would be the target for buyers on the upside. Commodities, gold in particular. Interesting what we saw yesterday. We saw the sell-off in gold, and gold's been on a really strong rally uptrend all the way up to 2,784. We saw that. That was last week. And then yesterday, we did get the sell-off to start the new week. Interesting where it got held up. What I've put in is the Fibonacci retracement level. I believe a valid tool to use. And it's not a matter of whether it does or doesn't work. It does work. It's a matter of whether one chooses to use it as one of their tools. I do. So here is my preceding uptrend. And then here's the turnaround. And is this turnaround going to continue and be a reversal? How strong is the reversal? Well, that's my 3 fib retracement levels. And you can see that yesterday it got held up at the 50% retracement level. There it is. So it tested this low, got held up at the fib retracement level, and bounced back up. We're now sitting at 2,743. Significant as well that the level it's sitting at, this 2,743, that's the first fib retracement level of 2,735. So definitely coming into play, the fib retracement levels, and it gives us a guideline for entries, for exits, for stop loss. So let's see if gold can fight back today, and the correlation between gold and the US dollar. I think it'll be tough for gold to really fight back if the US dollar does strengthen. So we'll watch for the correlation between the two. Sellers will want to look to come and test this 2,729, the 2,730 level, whereas buyers sitting right now at 2,743 will be looking at the 2,770 area. That's the high from yesterday. But I do believe the correlation will, and this could well depend on the direction of the US dollar. Interesting as well, the moving averages are almost about to cross to the downside after this very, very strong uptrend that we've had. Let's see how that plays out during the US session. Brent oil, which we know the sell-off has been very, very strong and continued yesterday. Let's get it up here. But again, a fight back today. And again, I'm using the fib retracement tool. It's proceeding uptrend, very strong downtrend. And if you see the low yesterday, that's at the third fib retracement level, which is 75.38, and that's where it got to yesterday. It got to the 75.38. That's where it bounced up off that support level, the intraday support, which just happens to be the 61.8%. That's the third fib retracement level. Fighting back a little bit today, we can see that sitting right now at 76.69. Buyers will want to look up at 77 as being the first target, and then possibly all the way up to 78 if there is a bounce back, a bounce up of these low levels. Really a strong trend that hasn't even yet crossed over the first leading indicator of the moving averages. So the trend is certainly still down. We'll wait to see how that plays out during the US session. Let's have a look at Bitcoin's performance. Bitcoin was really sold off strong yesterday. You can see that 97,637, but buyers did step in at that level, fought back to close at 101,976, around that 102,000 level. Interesting that if you look over the past week, all these wicks that we see where the sellers did test lower, the close has been above, just above slightly the 100 level, $100,000. So $100,000 is looking pivotal right now. And even yesterday, when it came down so strong, the close price 101,976, close to 102,000. And going back to all of these wicks over here, we're not seeing for the past week a close below 100, making it pivotal. So far today, a little bit of a fight back, sitting at yesterday's high, and that is at 103,247. Buyers will be looking to continue the bounce we saw yesterday, where buyers did step in. Will they continue to trade above the intraday high and yesterday's high at 103, finding its way back to 105? And then we know the 107 resistance area has proved strong in the past week as well. Sellers, of course, will want to be testing below 100 again and look for a close below the 100,000 mark. Good trading, guys. I'll see you at the end of the session.